I want to get this one on film. This happens once in a while. I've got a top loader that won't power on, and if you start looking really close at it, you start seeing some rust and a lot of corrosion and crap all over everything. But when you turn it over, it is super obvious. It is some kind of liquid or something has gotten into the base of the console and sat there for a long time, and it's corroded a bunch of this. I'm going to put on my macro lens here and get a little bit better close-up of it. Those are the 3 pins right there. For the 7805 voltage regulator. We got the negative and positive pin for the main filter cap. 4 pins right here for inductor filter. I'm a little bit worried about the power switch too. One of the legs just corroded right off when I touched it, and I did not get continuity across the switch either, so I mean that could be one of the main issues. As you can tell, there's just crap all over this board. Even some of the legs of the chips aren't looking so good. Right in there. Spot of rust right there. And of course the actual base of the console makes it pretty obvious. It's almost like it was sitting at a tilt where everything was more in the back, but there's major rust back in here. I just gave it a quick bath and brushed it down with a nylon brush, and you can tell it's a lot better. But what I'm worried about now is the circuit board back in there looks really bad. Well, the first things I'm going to check is see if we're getting any voltage here. And I get nothing. Getting nothing out of the 5-volt pin of the regulator. Getting 10.5 volts at the connector. Let's see. Almost nothing down at the switch itself, so makes me think maybe the let's see. Inductor seems okay. I'm getting a 1 volt reading at the input. Oh wow. I missed that earlier. But I already did show it in the macro shot. One of the legs of the bridge rectifier has completely corroded off of it. Looks like the DC output, the ground leg is still there, but the actual DC output leg is completely missing. Super. Well, anyway, I also did not have good continuity on the switch. Still do not. As far as I can tell, both legs are there, but they may be a little corroded. I have to take it apart and get that out too. I'm gonna start tearing parts off the back of it, but I thought I'd give that main cap a check. $14.20, so it's actually really good shape. 0.07 series resistance. Yeah, the main cap is fine. But we're definitely going to have to replace the bridge rectifier, and now that I really get over here in the light, I can look at the inside leg of the switch, and it is definitely corroded through, so I'm going to have to replace that also. I don't know what I'm going to get into back here. There's a lot of corrosion underneath all those parts. I might pull the inductor and cap and everything and just clean the board underneath. Try to get rid of all that stuff. Give you a good look at the components that got pulled out. How bad a condition they're in. Here's what the board looks like with all that stuff removed. I think it's salvageable, just really needs a good cleaning, but that is definitely going to have to be replaced. Here's a close-up of the switch. You can see one of the legs corroded off. Pads, part of the leg is still in that hole actually. Usually what I'll do is try to clean off as much of what's left of that leg that corroded off and try to solder to it. I've done it maybe a half a dozen times now. It usually works pretty good. Okay, so I ended up replacing the inductor, the bridge rectifier, the cap, and I soldered a new leg onto the power switch. So let's hook it up and test it and see if it works. Okay, I've got power and RF hooked up to it, but I do not seem to have any response at all. So let's dig a little further. Okay, first I'm going to test voltages. Still not getting 5 volts. Get 10.5 in. Get 10.1 and 9.7 at the switch. Let's see if I've actually got continuity on the switch now. does not appear that I do. Possible when I was putting it back together, the leg got hot and came unsoldered from the switch, or that the switch is just corroded on the inside as well. Okay, now I've got continuity. Maybe it is just a corroded switch. No, still nothing on the RF. What about DC voltage? Still nothing. I don't appear to have much of any DC voltage going. Got 10.5 on each side of the inductor. The traces all looked good, but somewhere along the line we're not getting the output. Okay, finally got it. Apparently either the trace or the through-hole pad or something was not making connection between the inductor and the bridge rectifier, so I simply bridged it myself with an old resistor or something leg soldered to each post, and now it's working again. Super.